Good morning, Grand Rising, and welcome to Presence of Light with charlierivermanbergeron. It's always a joy to be here with each of you on Friday morning as we tap into the world around us and invite Spirit to speak with us and speak through us in these challenging times as human beings. So I will wait until I see a few people appear and make sure everything is working. I don't see any problems at this point. But with technology, we understand that, anything can happen. So in the message that I put as part of the lead-in banner of the talk, good morning, Allison, were the words, as humans, we are now witnessing the point in our evolution where we must understand our past and heal it for the collective whole of the future. And today's title is Signs, Size, Signs, which was how I awoke this morning. I received a message from a friend about the drama that America is going through right now during this presidential election. And many of you are not from America. But you're watching this play out very carefully. And you all have your own issues in your own countries, wherever you live around the world. And so this isn't really a talk about politics. This is a talk about humanity. And the friend who wrote to me during the night was questioning where she was going to be at the end of this, and how was she going to embrace things that are uncomfortable that have come up as a result of the pandemic and this election and political energy here in this country. And as we know, this country affects the rest of the world. What happens here, whether intentionally or not, does affect the world. Just like in your countries, what happens there affects us here in America. We're not as separated as you think we are. And that's what this is playing out in this format, is it's really showing separation. And that's the sign that tells us, wake up. Wake up, children. Where are you going to go from here? Now that you realize that you can be that divided, where do you go from here? Because this is the outer expression of what each of us are feeling within us. And that separation within us is the separation of our physical self from our higher spiritual or fundamentally dynamic energy self. Doesn't matter how you want to look at that. The separation outside of us is the mirror that's showing us about the separation within us. So signs, political signs everywhere. It was hard to go anywhere without people expressing their what we would normally call support for a political candidate. But on some level, it felt deeper. Many of them almost felt like you were being attacked, because the energy behind those signs was that energy of separation. We all don't have to agree on everything. But what we need to agree is within ourselves. We have to agree with our heart. And what this displays is that we're agreeing with a mind that is subject to programming, a mind that is accessible in so many ways now through technology, more so than ever before in the history of humanity, and how easily it can be influenced, directed, manipulated. And that's what we need to really look at, irregardless of who wins the presidential seat in America. It's just one seat. And there's how many million people in this country? How many people in the world? How many people in your country? And the leaders are only one person or a collective of 12 or whatever it is. The time now is to come back into who we really are. And so I was guided to pull angel cards this morning. And this one is, these are from the, backwards, the Angel Blessings deck by Kimberly Maroney. It was one of the first deck of card I ever purchased in my life. And the card is the angel Ariel. And she represents nature. Nature. I always tell people that when we're upset, we've got problems, go out in nature. Go sit by a tree or sit by the water. Sit in a field where there's no distraction, just you and nature. And just sit and feel that connection, that energetic connection. There's nobody going to tell you what to do. There's nobody going to, show up and direct you. You're there, one with nature. And so that's what Ariel is really bringing to us this morning. And one of the lines was from St. Augustine. Every visible thing in this world is put in the charge of an angel. So, who do we need to look to? People? Angels? We can see that people are not really stable in what they say or what they do. How do they actually follow their own words? Do they actually practice their own preaching? Angels we're not so sure of. But we have a greater understanding that somewhere in a bigger picture, they're not guiding us into danger. We look at them as beings who might be leading us to love, or leading us to be friendly, leading us to be whole on some level. Ariel is basically a powerful angel of nature. And what she reminds us is that what's most important right now is to have an open heart. As I said before, the mind it's two separated halves. I mean, physiologically, yes, they're connected, but they're always communicating with each other in order to bring us to a concept that we can practice or follow or agree with. But we, as spirit beings, are one in that spirit. Our heart is one heart. So I wear my Global Heart Team shirt this morning. As part of the Global Heart Team, we gather and send love to the world. We sit in meditation and send love to the world. After sharing what's coming up for us that we feel might be calling for love. So I'm asking you all today to realize that separation can be overcome, that different ideas can come to a point of communion where something beneficial for everyone is a result. And it's through that open heart that nature's going to help us overcome separation. So, good morning to all of you. It's nice to see you all having arrived here and witnessing wherever you are around the world, all of that which we're going through. And my message is one of hope. My message is one of encouragement. And it's a place where we need to understand our past and heal it for the collective whole of the future. For our children, for our children's children, for the future generations. It's time that we're being called to take responsibility. And it doesn't mean to take an overburdensome role in this, but what can each one of us do individually, whether it's in our own family, in our own neighborhood, in our own town or village, our community, or on a larger scale? How do we bring the heart of who we are to the world and live it? Not just talk about it, not just write pretty poetry about it, not just preach it. How are we going to live that? Right now, this present moment is a gift. It's a gift from nature. The nature is all around us. It's a gift from nature to us to be present in. A lot of these things I've never thought of at this level before. But I see it. I see it because I have seen the separation. It's perfectly clear. There is no, well, what if, well, no. The separation is in our faces. And it's like, the Hopi prophecy explained. There's two roads. What are you going to take? And some will go one way, and some will go other way, and they'll remain in that separation. But what happens when we come together and move in one direction? Feel the power of moving in one direction all together. And that direction can have a whole lot of differences. We all don't have to like the color green. We don't all have to drive a car. We don't all have to eat bacon. Doesn't matter what the differences are. What's important is what's alike. Where do we come together in likeness? Where are we the mirrors of positivity for each other? It begins with us. I'm not going to lecture. It begins with us because we feel this pain. We feel the pain that's arising. It isn't my next door neighbor. He's feeling his own pain, or she's feeling her pain. And it's totally different. And it comes from different reasons and different resources. That pain and that suffering, that frustration, that anger. I'm not responsible for that. I can only be responsible for what's coming up in me. And that's the message. Self-respect. It's about self-respect now. That's based on our ability to allow ourselves to offer peace, light, and love to each other. Because in the end, all of that separation, that's what it does. It shuts down our ability and our capability, as well as our desire, to live from deep within our hearts. And this is in plain view. You can't shut your eyes to it anymore. It's the message we've been waiting for. It's the message that I sang in the 1960s as a child. We shall overcome. And that was the last words in my letter to this, our response to my friend this morning. We shall overcome. There is nothing too big, too dramatic, too destructive for humanity to not overcome. And that power is right here in your heart. We're awake. We're awake now. The dream time is over. The sleep is over. We are now awake. We can see it. We can feel it. And it hurts. But it also hurts when you fall off a bicycle. It also hurts when you trip over something and you skin your knee. It hurts. Physically and emotionally. And what we're beginning to understand now is that life has to stop being a contest. Life has to stop becoming a sporting event. It doesn't mean that those contests and sporting events and winning and losing isn't part of life. But it's not the purpose of life. That each one of us come out of our mother's womb. Not with an agenda that says, oh, I've got to do blah, 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 and I am who I am. There's a conscious awareness within us. But it's not clearly defined. We're given opportunity to choose, to test the water, to put our hand in the light socket, to go where there's danger. There's danger everywhere. Life is dangerous. But living doesn't have to be. And it's time now for us to look at that. How am I living my life? What am I expressing? What am I expressing? Time to look at some of what you're offering here. Oh, somebody forgot they were hour ahead. Time is, I have no clue what time it is. I'll be honest. So some people are saying they've turned their back to make sure they can keep it together. And we can talk about coping methods. Well, how do we cope with this? Politics are poison. There's many poisons in the world. It's just the current one that's being served. Let's see. Strength takes strength to be grounded. Need to spread love and light, positive vibes. God is showing us the frauds of the world. And we need to be a follower or walk our own path. Again, choice. It's not set in stone. All of this that we see, it looks like it's concrete. We can't escape. We're imprisoned by this. Learn to ride the wave of life. All of these things are what's coming up for us out of our emotional baggage. And what I want to say is, it's time to sit within ourselves. It's time to sit within ourselves and offer love and compassion to all of the suffering that's within us. The suffering that we are carrying right now for the whole world. We have our own little individual suffering and pain and what's happened and trauma. But we need to think of it as the whole, the global pain and suffering is our responsibility as well. The next angel card I pulled was Stamera. I don't know how you pronounce her name or its name. And the card is forgiveness. Random cards. Forgiveness. I didn't expect to talk about forgiveness today. Well, what does forgiveness really do for us? The words forgive. Forgiving. In favor of giving. I've talked about this several times. What is forgiveness? It's being in favor of giving. What are we giving? What do we need to give? We need to give ourselves. We need to be fully present in this moment through our hearts. Not from our minds. Our minds will distract us. Our minds will distort us. If I come on these talks and talk to you as if I'm coming from my mind, it's a whole different talk. It's a whole different talk. I come here from my heart. I come because I was offered this opportunity. I'm not any better than you. I don't know more than you. I'm just listening to my inner voice, and I'm listening to my heart and trying to keep my mind from changing what it's hearing and focusing on and what the world around me has told me that this is supposed to be. We have to come back into this heart to fill ourselves with forgiveness. And the message from the Stamera card is, Stamera, and I don't know how you pronounce this name, beautiful Stamera, come into my life, beloved, and make me whole. Fill me with your forgiveness complete, washing away all remnants of my intolerance for my own imperfections. I'm going to say that again. The remnants of my intolerance for my own imperfections. Stamera, Blessed One, hold me in your arms of love. You are my friend and companion. Stamera, you are my bliss. So the angel of forgiveness is really the energy beingness that offers us the opportunity to trust it as a guide, to know that it's available within us, that we have the power not so much to focus on what we do need to forgive in others, but what we need to forgive in ourselves. And when we realize that there's no shame in having made a wrong decision, there's no shame in being brainwashed into believing something that's not true. There's no shame in being angry. They're all a natural part of our human experience. And at any moment, we can become aware of that. And the first thing we want to do is stuff it right back down. It's been said 1,000 times, 1,000 ways, 1,000 practices that help people with this. Stop stuffing it down. Stop burying it. Allow it to rise. Allows that pain to flow, cry, hide, shiver, go into anxiety, whatever expression you have to do to go through this. I'm pleading with you. Let it go. Because it's all being caused from the exterior. And it's how we're reacting to the exterior environment around us. And how other people have the ability to overpower us in that field for whatever reason. We can be manipulated by goodness just as well as we can be manipulated by being bullied. And I know many of you have that story on both sides, and you've experienced it. And it's time now to remember, who is that? Who is that that's being bullied? Who is that that's being charmed? Who is that? That real you, that whose story began as a child, who didn't have any understanding capability whatsoever. And we're at the mercy of those around you and whose hearts were open to trust. And slowly were damaged. Slowly were hurt. Slowly kept closing down and protecting. And then defending. Feel that process of your life. Let's now seek to free ourselves from that, because we will set the pathway for the future generations through forgiveness. And the deepest forgiveness we need to experience is the forgiveness within us. The outside is always basically just creating and agitating all of our ancient wounds, whether they be only in this lifetime or ancestral through our genetic structure. We carry the memories. Mother Earth carries the memories energetically. And trauma is a negative energy, a destructive energy. And the only way to deal with it is to allow it room to go, to be free. Set it free. Forgive it. Forgive yourself. It has no power without us. It's an action, and we comply with a reaction. But we're the ones who hold part of that energy. And when it gets too much, we stuff it, and we stuff it again. And then we keep repeating the pattern over and over again, thinking, well, maybe this time I'll maybe it'll be better this time. Maybe it'll be, how many of us have been married more than once? How many people have done the same job over and over again, thinking the next one will be better, not realizing that we should be doing something entirely different? This continual trying to prove to ourselves. Why don't we just be ourselves? Sit in nature, in that silence, with Ariel, with beautiful Ariel in the woods, on the mountain, at the beach. Each one of us, already have everything we need to shift the consciousness of humanity to one which is beneficial for all life. Doesn't matter what country, doesn't matter what color, doesn't matter how tall you are, it doesn't matter how many arms you have, how many fingers and toes you have. It doesn't matter where on earth you were born into. You're precious. Each one of us is precious. And America is now showing the world, although it wasn't the intention. But what's happening in America is showing the world how wounded we as a collective humanity truly are. And the only real truth we can deal with is right here. And as I do it, and one of you do it, and you do it, and you do it, and you do it, and you do it, eventually there's an energy shift in all of humanity. So here we are at the crossroads. As the title basically says, signs. We're receiving the signs. What did I just do? I sighed. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of work. But it doesn't have to be work that breaks us. It should be work filled with laughter and joy. The joy of giving something to someone else. When you see that smile on their face, that hi, that, oh, I think you might need this. Offering from our hearts. The only person we really need to forgive is us. And that's my message today at 10:33. I love that. Bless you. And so in closing, I just want you all to be strong in your vision of a better world. keeping yourself attuned to what's going on inside of you more than what's happening outside of you or around you. We, most of the time, can physically avoid a lot of what we do. And it's not a path of avoidance so much as it is being aware that there are thoughts, people, situations that are just not going to be in alignment with an open heart. They're not right, they're not wrong, but it's like potholes in the road. You can ride down the road and hit every pothole, and eventually you're going to have to fix your car. These vehicles that we ride around in here take a lot of abuse, and it's time now to let that abuse go. How many times do we have to have an illness before we really decide to do something about it? What we're experiencing in the world now is illness. It's not dis-ease. It creates dis-ease, but it's an illness. And if we turn our lives around to live a little bit healthier within ourselves, within our ability to share peace, light, and love with each other, it will auto-correct. It's amazing the power that you have. And so in closing, I'm going to pull a Kuan Yin card for sort of a prayer, because she is the goddess of compassion. And how can we forgive each other if we don't have compassion? And thank you all for writing in the sidelines. And I hope you are all reading each other's words, because it isn't just about me. I'm going to come and I'm going to go and I'm going to be here for half an hour. But each of you have the opportunity to learn from each other, which is more powerful. And so here's the card. Oh, let's see, I can't read it in my thing. Bamboo Moon. So Kuan Yin's offering us Bamboo Moon, the first card in her deck. All right. And here's what is being said. Did you know that there are no mistakes in the universe? And all events, circumstances, relationships, and situations are unfolding in perfection, with the timing and intelligence of the divine plan. Any apparent delay is in your favor. If something is happening for you right now, then that is perfect too. Divine timing is perfection. It is safe to trust this now. Those last words were, it is safe to trust this now. Surrender into the perfection of who you are. And know that when that happens, everything will flow in a beneficent manner. We don't have to work so hard. We just have to do a little more surrendering to the real truth right here in our hearts. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are mirrors of each other. Find a mirror that really shows you what you need to be seen, what needs to be seen. And whether it's good or bad, know that you have the strength and the power, with the assistance of whatever you decide to focus on as your angels. And we're going to make it through all of this. I love you and bless you. Have a great week. I'm glad I didn't talk too heavily about the politics, because that's really not the point here. The point is about us. It isn't about how we decide. It's about us. It's about taking care of home plate. If you're a baseball player, cover the plate. So until next Friday, hopefully we'll have some idea of who the President of America is. Not that it's going to be the be-all and end-all or solution to anything. It's just going to be another day in that general pattern. What's important is, who are you going to be? That's what I'm interested in. Who are you going to be? I want you to be the president of who you are. I don't mean to point. I'll rather send you energy with happy fingers. Okay, so that's it. Be who you are. Know that you're loved. And we'll see you again on Friday. Y'all have a great, great, great week. Love you all. Bless you. And thank you. Thank you for showing up. Bye-bye.